songwriters, legendary voice actors, and an academic monkey. For Lost in Space cast members young and old, the family-friendly sci-fi series was an unforgettable stepping stone. Guy Williams started his career in minor film roles and modeling. He became world-famous as Don Diego de la Vega, better known as Zorro, in the hit Walt Disney TV series. His classic Hollywood image of a dashing hero made him the perfect Professor John Robinson in Lost in Space. According to the Los Angeles Times, not long after Lost in Space concluded, Williams relocated to Buenos Aires, Argentina, where his roles in The Prince and the Pauper, Captain Sinbad, as well as Lost in Space and Zorro were very popular. With his marriage ended and children grown, Williams had been living alone at the time of his death. After suffering a fatal heart attack in 1989, it was a week before Williams was discovered by police in his apartment. Guy Williams was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2001. His son, Guy Williams Jr., gratefully accepted it on his father's behalf. What many fans don't know is that Williams had actually turned down the role of Professor Robinson several times before finally accepting it, concerned that television science fiction might damage his dramatic acting career. June Lockhart played Maureen Robinson, the scientist and mom next door who could rescue her husband in deep space at one moment and hunt down hostile creatures in another. Dr. Smith, I could just throttle you. No violence, please, dear lady. I was only trying to help. Lockhart came from a family of Hollywood actors. In MGM's 1938 version of A Christmas Carol, she appeared with her mother, Kathleen, and her father, Gene Lockhart. Before Lost in Space, she spent 6 years with Lassie as Timmy's mother, Ruth Martin. After Lost in Space, Lockhart joined the cast of Petticoat Junction. In addition to being a popular guest on game shows, talk shows, and holiday parades, June Lockhart continued to appear in popular series for decades to come. She had roles in Full House, Magnum P.I., Murder, She Wrote, and General Hospital. Lockhart lived to the remarkable age of 99, passing away in 2023, leaving behind a legacy of nearly 200 film and television credits. Her final role was voicing Alpha Control in the Lost in Space series reboot in 2021. Jupiter 2, this is operations. You're all clear for landing. Welcome home, Robinsons. Throughout her later years, Lockhart became known as the First Lady of Space due to her association with NASA, attending numerous space shuttle launches and being awarded NASA's Exceptional Public Service Medal in 2013. Her lifelong fascination with space exploration made her role as Maureen Robinson particularly meaningful to her. Mark Goddard was a classically trained young actor in TV and films before he was cast as Major Don West on Lost in Space. His credits include iconic TV series like Gunsmoke and The Fugitive. After Lost in Space ended, he revealed in an interview with Pop Entertainment that he kept his work on the show hidden for several years, after his co-star Guy Williams described the show as, quote, a career buster due to its goofy nature. We vegetables can be violent too if we have to. It turns out Goddard needn't have worried for his career. The actor worked steadily on TV and in film for years after, with roles in films like Roller Boogie and shows such as General Hospital and One Life to Live. Goddard often reunited with his Lost in Space castmates, even making a cameo in the 1998 film adaptation. In his 2008 memoir, To Space and Back, and his 2016 follow-up, 3 Years Lost in Space, Goddard describes how the quirky series that he once thought would end his career proved its staying power to each new generation. What many fans don't realize is that after his acting career, Goddard earned a master's degree in education and became a special education teacher in Massachusetts, working with children with learning disabilities for over 20 years. He often cited this as the most rewarding chapter of his life, even more so than his Hollywood career. Goddard passed away in 2023 at the age of 87. Marta Kristen played the young Judy Robinson in the series, the oldest Robinson daughter who always seemed to be under the watchful eye of Major West. Before Lost in Space, Kristen appeared in several high-profile TV series, including Leave It to Beaver and The Loretta Young Show. In the movies, her roles included the magical Lauralee in Beach Blanket Bingo. The Spectrum reports that in real life, Kristen's mother put her up for adoption in her native Oslo, Norway, to prevent the Nazis from putting her in their Lebensborn program for raising racially pure children during World War II. Instead, Kristen was brought up in an underground orphanage in Norway, where she was later adopted by an American couple. Years after Lost in Space, Kristen visited her birth mother in Europe, eventually meeting some of the 9 siblings she never knew she had. Kristen made an appearance in the 1998 feature film adaptation of Lost in Space. She also remained active in TV series, commercials, and Los Angeles area theater. Now in her 80s, Kristen continues to attend sci-fi conventions and remains connected to her fans through social media. In a 2018 interview, Kristen revealed that she had initially auditioned for the role of Penny Robinson, but was cast as the older sister instead. Throughout her post-Lost in Space career, she became an advocate for adoption rights and has worked with several organizations helping children find permanent homes, inspired by her own life story. Though barely a teen when he played Will Robinson on Lost in Space, Bill Mumy had been acting since the age of 3. He was unforgettable in Alfred Hitchcock Presents as a boy who innocently finds his parents' gun. He was chilling as Anthony Fremont in the much-imitated episode of The Twilight Zone. It's a good life. You're a bad man. You're a very bad man. And you keep thinking bad thoughts about me. Whether it was The Munsters, Bewitched, or Sammy, the Way Out Seal, Mumy seemed ideal to fill a role wherever a precocious lad was needed. As an adult actor, Mumy continued his science fiction career. In addition to Lost in Space, he's also well known for playing Lenier, an intergalactic political aide on the popular series Babylon 5. Mumy has also gained a following as an accomplished musician, composer, and a solo artist. He and his childhood friend created the novelty hit Fish Heads as the duo Barnes & Barnes, which gained popularity on the Dr. Demento radio show. Mumy also released children's albums for Rhino Records, including the Yogi Bear environmental album starring the signature Hanna-Barbera character. Now in his 70s, Mumy remains active in music, voice acting, and writing, having published several science fiction novels and comic books. Lesser known is Mumy's work as a comic book writer, having penned issues for The Twilight Zone, Lost in Space, and Babylon 5. He's also an accomplished photographer whose work has been exhibited in galleries across California. In 2018, Mumy fulfilled a lifelong dream by releasing Centennial Celebration, an album of original folk rock songs featuring collaborations with America, Jerry Beckley, and other notable musicians. British-born Angela Cartwright was no stranger to television performance when she blasted off as Penny Robinson in Lost in Space. From the age of 5, Cartwright appeared as Linda Williams in Make Room for Daddy, also known as The Danny Thomas Show. A decade later, she found herself dancing with Julie Andrews and the other Von Trapps as Brigitta in The Sound of Music. Cartwright followed her time on Lost in Space with further TV appearances, including a revival of Make Room for Daddy called Make Room for Granddaddy. Cartwright also participated in reunions with her fellow Lost in Space friends as yet another original cast cameo in the 1998 Lost in Space movie. Over the past several decades, Cartwright has become much more renowned for her work as a photographer and artist, and released several books on photography and cinema. Many of her fans think of her as an artist first, and some don't even connect her with Lost in Space or The Sound of Music. In 2016, Cartwright also published a Lost in Space photo collection in collaboration with her co-star, Bill Mumy. Today, Cartwright continues her artistic pursuits and occasionally appears at fan conventions alongside her former castmates. Her photography studio in Studio City, California, has become a creative hub for artists in the Los Angeles area, and she regularly teaches workshops on mixed media art and photography techniques. In 2021, Cartwright revealed that she still owns several props from the original Lost in Space set, including Penny's diary and some of the costume jewelry worn throughout the series, which she considers among her most treasured possessions. Dr. Zachary Smith, whose sabotage sent the Robinsons off course, was played by the versatile Jonathan Harris. Before Lost in Space, his credits were primarily dramatic roles on The Twilight Zone and The Third Man, with some comedic turns on Father Knows Best and The Bill Dana Show. To prevent the original plan of Dr. Smith being killed off on Lost in Space, he deliberately transformed the character from an evil, calculating villain to a weak-willed mischief maker. Producer Irwin Allen and the CBS network loved it, The lighter tone lessened the violence of this family-based series. Harris continued to steadily work after Lost in Space on TV series like Sanford and Son and Get Smart. His voice acting career began in 1968 at Hanna-Barbera, where he voiced Athos in The Three Musketeers. He also contributed his voice to an animated version of Lost in Space. Harris began an association with the Filmation studio when he provided his voice for 1973's My Favorite Martians, a cartoon based on the 60s sitcom My Favorite Martian. Before long, Harris's voice was unmistakable across hundreds of cartoon performances, including appearances in Superman, the animated series, and Darkwing Duck. His career also extended to Disney Pixar films, where he voiced Manny the praying mantis in A Bug's Life, and the cleaner in Toy Story 2. Yet again, it is up to me to rescue the performance. Harris passed away in 2002 at the age of 87, leaving an unparalleled legacy behind. What many don't know is that Harris was a classically trained Shakespearean actor who spoke 5 languages fluently. He created Dr. Smith's distinctive speech pattern by deliberately emphasizing certain syllables and adding dramatic pauses. According to Bill Mumy, Harris meticulously rewrote almost all of his lines in the script, often staying up all night to perfect his dialogue, creating the memorable character that would become the show's breakout star. Some Lost in Space viewers might be surprised to discover that there was a real person tucked away inside the robot, maneuvering it on the set. This role was filled by actor Bob May, who used his experience on the theater stage to give life to the computerized character. May's non-robot screen credits include playing a clown in the 1980 Jerry Lewis film Hardly Working. May passed in 2009, according to the Los Angeles Times, but the robot's legacy lives on. It was physically taxing to bring visual life to the mechanical member of the Jupiter 2 crew. Despite the challenge, May's efforts helped give the robot a personality that millions came to care about. You mean you think you're gonna cry? Yes, please leave me. I do not want you to see me in this condition. The robot costume weighed nearly 100 pounds and reached temperatures of over 130 degrees inside during filming. May had to memorize the entire script for each episode since he couldn't hold pages while in the costume. Despite these challenges, he rarely complained and developed a close friendship with Bill Mumy during filming. After Lost in Space, May became a successful real estate agent in California, but always maintained his connection to the show, appearing at conventions and special events with the restored robot costume until his death. The robot's personality also came from his voice, provided by legendary actor and announcer Dick Twofold. He was also the narrator of Lost in Space. Twofold's distinctive voice was a TV favorite on countless series including Surfside 6 and The Gallant Men. After Lost in Space, Twofold was the announcer on The Time Tunnel, The Julie Andrews Hour, and Peyton Place. Twofold's numerous cartoon credits include Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and Super Friends, the legendary Superpowers show. As the robot, Twofold was heard on The Simpsons and in the 1998 film version of Lost in Space. Twofold continued to work as one of Disney's most familiar announcers throughout the late 20th century, narrating the Walt Disney World Parade broadcasts on ABC. He passed away in 2012 at the age of 85, with his iconic phrase, "Danger, Will Robinson," forever cemented in pop culture history. Interestingly, Twofold and producer Irwin Allen had a long professional relationship that spanned decades. Twofold's voice became so synonymous with Allen's productions that he was often called the voice of Irwin Allen. In his later years, Twofold revealed that he recorded all of the robot's dialogue for the entire 3 seasons in just a handful of marathon recording sessions, often without seeing the footage or knowing the context of the scenes. 59 years after Lost in Space first aired, the show's legacy continues through streaming services, conventions, and a successful Netflix reboot. While many of the original cast members have passed on, their contributions to science fiction television history remain immortal. From Guy Williams' dashing heroism to Jonathan Harris's scene-stealing villainy, the Jupiter 2 crew captured the imagination of generations of viewers. As Bill Mumy once said in an interview, "We were just making a TV show, but it turned out we were making history." For fans both old and new, the Robinson family's journey through the cosmos continues to inspire wonder and nostalgia, proving that even after nearly 6 decades, they're never truly lost in space. Behind the scenes of Lost in Space lies a treasure trove of fascinating production details and trivia that even dedicated fans might not know. The iconic Jupiter 2 spacecraft set cost an astronomical $350,000 to build in 1965, equivalent to over $3 million today, making it one of the most expensive television sets of its era. The robot, officially named B9, Class M3 General Utility Non-Theorizing Environmental Control Robot, was designed by Robert Kinoshita, who also created Robbie the Robot for Forbidden Planet. The two robots share many design similarities, though the Lost in Space robot evolved significantly throughout the series, gaining more personality and human-like characteristics as the show progressed. The show's famous catchphrase, "Danger, Will Robinson," was actually only said once in the entire original series, during the episode The Deadliest of the Species. However, the phrase became so associated with the show that it entered popular culture and has been referenced countless times in other media. The distinctive electronic sound effects for the series were created by electronic music pioneer Louis and Bibi Baron, who had previously worked on the groundbreaking electronic score for Forbidden Planet. Their innovative use of electronic circuits to create otherworldly sounds helped establish the sonic vocabulary of science fiction that continues to influence productions today. Lost in Space was also notable for its pioneering use of special effects on television. The series employed techniques like stop-motion animation, miniature models, and early blue-screen technology to create its alien worlds and space sequences. While these effects may look dated by today's standards, they were revolutionary for television at the time and influenced generations of filmmakers and effects artists. The show's distinctive aesthetic, combining mid-century modern design with futuristic elements, has become iconic in its own right, with the Jupiter 2 spacecraft and the robot becoming instantly recognizable symbols of 1960s science fiction. The colorful transition from black and white in the first season to vibrant color in later seasons reflected the changing television landscape of the 1960s and contributed to the show's visual evolution from serious science fiction to more whimsical space fantasy. Perhaps most surprisingly, Lost in Space nearly had a very different fate. The show was actually canceled after its third season, despite decent ratings, as CBS wanted to make room for other programming. Producer Irwin Allen had plans for a fourth season that would have seen the Robinsons finally return to Earth, providing closure to their interstellar journey. Sketches and concept art for this unfilmed season show designs for new aliens, vehicles, and planetary landscapes that never made it to screen. This unrealized conclusion to the Robinson family saga remains one of television's great what-if scenarios, leaving fans to imagine how the cosmic castaways might have finally found their way home.